Let me ask you a question. Are you a frugal person? Well, if you ask some of these next questions that we're going to talk about when you buy something or when you're thinking about buying something, then you probably are frugal and maybe just didn't know it. I guarantee you that if you ask yourself some of these questions when you are shopping, you are going to save money or not spend money at all. One of the questions that people who are frugal often ask is, what is the cost per use? So how do you ask this question or think about it with what you're buying? Let's say you're buying a t-shirt and it's $30 and you're going to wear it, more than 30 times because it's good quality, you're going to get the wear out of it. And that would be less than $1 per use. Let's think about the same kind of a t-shirt. Let's say you find one for 15 bucks. But after 3 washes and 3 wears, it's already peeling and looking dingy. Then you've just paid $5 per use. So you see how you can see when people, spend more money on quality versus quantity, it's because they look at that breakdown. And yeah, you might say, well, that's expensive. That's too expensive to buy. But the frugal people have already done the math and figured out it's actually the cheaper option. Does this have a home in my home? This is a question you should ask for anything you're going to buy, especially if you're one of those people that can go to Target and load up your cart with stuff and not even remember what's at the bottom. It's full. You get home and you've spent $300 because that's pretty easy to do. And you don't know where in the world half of this stuff is going to go. So I always talk about how some people, like some YouTubers, go out and they, shopping. They're like, look what I bought. It's just so cute that I had to have it. I don't know where I'm going to put it, but I had to have it. And they bought it. Well, you know what? There's a lot of things that are out cute in the world. There are so many cute puppies. Yep. Cute puppies, cute kitties, cute everything, cute ponies, cute horses, cute pigs. And I would love to have them, but I don't have a home for them. So I think about this the same exact way. I can go out and see all these pretty wreaths, these throw pillows, these throw blankets, these, picture frames, but unless I have a specific need for that, that is just going to be a big waste and a waste of money. How many ways can I use this? I've talked about this plenty before about all of the, avocado slicer, the strawberry quarter, the grape cutter, this chopper, that chopper, this juice maker, that juice maker. Some people it works out for. It's something that they use all the time and it comes in handy for them. And if it does, that's great. But a lot of people get sucked into buying these kinds of things and it's a one-use product and they don't ever use it. Now they've got a drawer full of these things. They can't find the one that they actually wanted, and you go back to the cost per use, you just don't, it's not there. So this one's pretty similar in that, but you gotta think about what else can I use this for? So let's say you're going out and you're buying a pair of shoes to go with a dress. You've got a graduation ceremony, a wedding to go to, whatever it may be, and you're buying a pair of shoes. I always think to myself, is this a pair of shoes I can wear other times? Or is this literally like going on a prom and I'm buying these sparkly shoes and that's a one-time thing? Now, if it's a prom dress and that's a one-time thing, or a wedding dress, that's a special occasion in your life. But for a regular wedding where you're a regular guest or somebody's cousin's graduation, that's one of those things where if I'm buying something, I want to make sure that there's more ways or more things that I can put it with, that it can go with. I'm not buying a belt to go with something that I'm never going to wear again. This next one is one you should always ask, especially if you've just got a lot of stuff around your house. Do I already have one of these or something else like it? This happens to, us that have a closet full of stuff and we are like, oh, this is a great pair of black pants. And you go home and you're like, oh, yeah, I did already have 7 pair and I don't really wear them that often. That is one of those times when you should ask that question. Do I already have this? Somebody had made a comment to me about how they wanted to get a tool chest for Christmas, and I thought this was a great idea, because how he told me, he said, it's a home for his tools, which is perfect because every time he goes to look for a hammer, he can't find it, he needs it, he goes and buys a new one, and then he comes home and finds the 5 other ones he's had laying around. That he needs to find a place for his thing so he knows where it is. So these questions all kind of lead into each other. So knowing if you have something already that can do the same job, it's just one of those things that when I'm out, I can't think of a good idea of what it is, but I'm like, yeah, that is nice, but I already have something like that and I don't need it. Let's say it's a brown pair of shoes, and it's a cute pair of shoes, but I already have a brown pair of shoes. You know, they look different, but they go with the things that I need. I'm not gonna buy it. What is the storage or maintenance cost of this thing? This is one that people forget to think about or have never even thought about. Think about this. When you buy something and you bring it into your house, it's now taking up space. You pay for that space, whether you've purchased that house and you've got a mortgage or you are renting that house. You are paying for that space, for that thing. So that thing didn't just cost 10 bucks. That thing now costs whatever, per square foot it's taking up. And if you have to buy a bigger house because your things don't fit in it, if you have to fill up your garage with things because they don't fit in your house and now your cars are sitting outside when they should be in the garage because you have so many things and you don't know where things are, so you've had duplicates. Again, you see where I'm going here. There is a cost associated with something. You see how many storage units there are. People have bought these things that they want to hang on to. And I'm not talking about the people in transition of moving or, somebody's relatives in assisted living or something and they've had to put their things there. I'm talking about people who just, have so much stuff that they have storage units. Would they have bought that chair, for $100 if they knew that they would end up spending $1,000 over its lifetime to store it and not use it? So think about the next time you're buying something. Let's say you get a piece of sports equipment or you want a jet ski or whatever it is. That jet ski is not just that cost. If you've got to go, it won't fit in the garage and you've got to rent a space for it. That is something you need to take into consideration. This one is my favorite. Can I find this somewhere else for less? I am always on the hunt for the better bargain, but I won't go out of my way to the extent that I spend more money and time trying to find, not that big of a difference in cost. One of the ways that I do this is if I'm online shopping, which let me just tell you, shopping out in the world today, hit or miss, can't often find something good, supply chain issues, whatever. But I'll find it online and I'll copy whatever it is, what the name of it is. Let's say I'm talking about my camera. Let's say it's a Sony Z, whatever the camera this is. I'll copy it and I'll put it in an internet search browser. And that way it'll pull up the shopping tab and I can click on the shopping tab and see if Best Buy has a better deal, if they have it on Walmart, if they have it on Amazon, if they have it on the Sony website. It will pull up everything that there is and it'll tell me the deals there. And one of the things to keep in consideration when you're doing this is there shipping? What is the return policy? These are all things that you have to think about with the total cost. So you can see that a frugal person is very deliberate about how they spend money, and they think about all of the other ways they can get hit from other directions with money, with fees, shipping, returns. So is there a better deal? Keep in mind when you're looking for that better deal of those other costs as well. But we are always looking to make sure we aren't just buying it here when you could end up getting it somewhere else. So let's just talk about this. There was something at a store. It was like last weekend. It was at a store and it was, I think, $22, but they only had the display and they didn't have the actual thing. And it was something that I have been wanting and looking for. And they were like, well, you can take this. I'm like, I'm not taking the one that's been open. I'm not doing that. So I took a picture of the thing and then I put it in the search bar. I found it on Amazon for $5 less. So $22, I ended up paying less than $17 for it. Yay me, and I got a brand new one of what I wanted. So that is just one of those things that you've got to get past your impulse to want to get it now and think about other alternative ways and if that's going to be beneficial for you to go that alternative way. This next one's a pretty commonly asked question within the frugal community, and people know this, but they don't really always ask it themselves, as if, do I need this? Now, we are in the day and age of there's a lot of things we think we need, we don't actually need. So we really need to sit down and determine, what is a need versus a want? What is a need versus a, I need it or a want. And I'm not saying you shouldn't get a need, a needy, or a want, you know, the high, the middle, or the low. I'm just saying to think about, if you are in a situation where you're trying to save up to buy a car, you're trying to put a down payment for a house, you are in debt, and you're really trying to get that debt paid off, this might be where you can really start to rein yourself in and see what it is that you really need and why it is that you think you want this thing. So when you think you need it and you determine you don't need it, well, why do I want it? So let's say it's, you know, you want shoes. Well, why do I want these shoes? Well, because the girl at work had a pair and they looked so cute. Well, that's a comparison thing. So this question really leads into looking more inside of yourself to try to find answers as to why you're going that direction, why you're constantly buying things that you don't necessarily need. This next question is my favorite question to ask, because after discovering minimalism, and it was, I think the movie Minimalism that this question came from, is, do I love this? Because, you know, decluttering and getting rid of your things, what it does is it opens you up and your home up to allowing more of what you love. It doesn't limit your life. It doesn't necessarily mean a mattress and a chair and that's all that's in your house. It means you make room for what you love. If you love books, it makes room that you can get all the books you want. But you have a ton of coffee cups and you really don't love them. You get rid of those, you've got more room for your books. So it's just one of those things that it's a great question because you won't buy something. Going back to that talk about the Target, you know, everything that's in that Target cart that's cost $300 that you just thought was so cute, did you really love it? Like, you could not put it down. This is the cutest thing. I've been looking for it for forever and I cannot put it down. That is what I'm talking about with the question of, do I love this? This is a big one. Is it within budget? Do I have this budgeted in the spend this month or this week? This one, if you've done your budget, really think about it. Don't start taking from next week, because that is a dangerous avalanche, a hill to go down. Trust me, this is what I did. I didn't worry about what was in my budget in my 20s, and that's what got me into trouble and got me into debt. You know, is it in the budget? If it isn't, we are going to save it for next time. I think it was probably about a year ago, somebody gave me this great idea. It's a way their family saved money, but they determined what was a need and what was a want. And then when it was in budget, if it still was a really, really want, and they had it within a budget, then they would go and get it. But they had a family, I guess a family whiteboard or something. So if somebody said they needed something or wanted something, they would write it on there. And, you know, they would review it the next month. And half the time it was erased because they no longer wanted it. We think we want things in the moment, but the reason is, so let's say you want to get your nails done. Just use a random thing. It's probably because you've been seeing somebody have their nails done and now you want your nails done. It's just something that you don't realize is you want to be that person or that other thing or something that keeps splashing in your face. It could be marketing. It could be the pre-roll ads on the YouTube channel that keep putting this idea of something, maybe a new face cream, into your face, so you don't know if you really actually want it or love it. So, or it's in the budget. So put it down on that list and really go back and look at it after you've had some time to come back down to reality. The last question to ask is, can I borrow this? I use this example with our wheelbarrow. We have a wheelbarrow outside and, you know, we use it from here to there, and we've had it for, you know, over a decade now, and our neighbor uses it now. And he used to ask us, now he knows, like, just come over and get it, you know, and use it when you need it. There is no reason for him to go buy it. It's not like we're using it 24 hours a day. We use it when we need, when we're putting mulch down, when we're moving, you know, planting a tree, whatever it might be. If he needs it, go ahead and use it. It would be the same thing with any of my neighbors. Obviously, there have been people that borrow things that don't return them, or they return them broken. You just have to be careful who you let borrow your things or what it is that they borrow. But if you can borrow it can really end up saving you money. You know, what is the point? And not being so wasteful. What's the point of him buying a wheelbarrow? You know, unless he goes and buys a house where he's on, 6 acres and his next neighbor is like a mile away, then that would be a different situation. I hope you enjoyed this video. I definitely enjoyed talking to you guys about the questions that frugal people typically ask themselves that ends up saving them a lot of money. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I would love to have you back for more videos.